now we got to get wacky. We got to go off kilter a little bit and find out some things. We're going to do a Drew's Dozen. So first things first, tell me about your setup behind you. Where are you? How did this come to be? What's the deal there, buddy?
Right now, I'm in a basement bedroom at the house. I know we've been doing this for a little while at NFL Network, and I think we might be doing it for a little bit longer, sadly. So this is a basement bedroom. This is like a record player that it was my wife's grandma Cece's back in California. These are a bunch of credentials that I framed on a board morning. That's a painting by my wife's uncle. We got some pictures and different things around here. I've just kind of a little makeshift setup down here in the basement, but it's the only quiet place in the house, Drew. Right now, the kid and the wife are doing a little virtual learning upstairs.
Well, how about that? Yeah, I'm in that same boat with you. I've got children as well. But let's get back to those credentials behind you. Now, you've been in the NFL and covered the NFL for about 7-8 years now. But before that, you covered them all. You covered all the bases. Are those just NFL credentials behind you? You got anything else that's sort of off the beaten path?
This is I think this is all NFL. Look, there's an Andre Johnson a media day thing that he had, but that's all. It's all NFL in college. I covered the Mountain West Conference and the SEC before I got to the NFL. So there's some of those are sprinkled in there as well. Maybe a Wyoming Cowboys credential, if you will.
Yeah. Didn't you cover like Colorado State swimming from time to time and diving and stuff?
I certainly did, Drew. It's on the YouTubes. You can see me. I tried out for Wyoming's diving team. I tried out for Air Force's fencing team back in my young days where you would do that wacky stuff on the air.
That's good stuff. Yeah. Okay, so tell me about, we're in the midst of this COVID-19 pandemic. We're doing okay, thankfully, knock on wood. When this all ends, what's the first thing you're going to do that you can't do right now?
Oof. I'm a people person, and I just want to go someplace where there's just human interaction. And I think that's one of the biggest things. I mean, we're really big in going outdoors, and, skiing is kind of the biggest thing in our family here in Colorado. And it's what we do as a family pretty regularly. So that season will be over, but getting back up to the mountains and maybe do some mountain biking, hiking, and be in kind of those mountain towns like Vail that we love, I think is kind of one of the first things we'll do, drive up to the mountains. Yeah,
that's good stuff. I've talked to a few players on this, and they've said travel is one of the big things. Mm-hmm. Chester Pitts did one with him, and he's like you. He's a people person. He misses just high-fiving, shaking hands and all that stuff. So with all that in mind, what's a guilty pleasure? I mean, those are basic things that we all want to get back to, but what's a guilty pleasure that you've missed during all this?
Colorado, we're really known for our breweries, and from Fort Collins to Boulder to Denver, it's up in the mountains, and we love going to different breweries and trying different beers. And the fun thing is here in Colorado, a lot of them are family friendly. So going and doing the tastings and doing those things, definitely a guilty pleasure of ours as a family, and me if I can sneak off by myself and hit a couple breweries as well.
Now, I know you pretty well, and I know you probably appreciate teachers and what they do, but how much has your admiration, appreciation for teachers grown during this time? Because mine, it's gone sky high, and it was already very, very high.
Yeah, it's remarkable. I mean, my mom was a teacher. My sister's a special needs teacher. I have an education degree on top of a journalism degree. I know not to my own horn, Drew, but 2 degrees, no big deal. But so I've always had an appreciation for teachers, but right now watching what my sister's doing with her students, who are definitely in a different world than a lot of other children, and how she's trying to work with them is remarkable. And watching my wife, and I'm going to throw under the bus for a second, just like struggle working with my son because it's hard.
She's in the same boat as a lot of other ladies and parents.
Exactly. And watching her put in the effort, and she's so good at it. That's the compliment part, but it shows you how hard it is because she gets frustrated, right? And she goes through some struggles working with him. And I think it just shows you how good our teachers really are and how valuable they are. I've done it for a while, and, from watching my mom and my sister, but I think all of us are getting a greater appreciation, and, hopefully these kids can get back to school and see their buddies. He did virtual class, and like just seeing his friends, it's his teacher and 5 kids at the same time, them just, screaming at each other, and then her trying to control not a room full of kids, but a digital room full of kids, even harder.
The mute button is at a premium on that one. So do you have a chance with a young guy there? Do you have a chance to binge watch anything with all this going on? And if you do, what is it?
Well, I mean, my wife and I, he can't watch, but my wife and I did Tiger King like the rest of the universe has. And man, that's incredible. I saw something on the internet that was fantastic where somebody was like, we're getting to know our Amazon delivery guys much better. And on their front door, it said, did Carol Baskin kill her husband? There was a no sign and a yes sign, and all the packages were placed under the yes sign. So they're learning about their delivery guys through Tiger King. So Tiger King is definitely the one that we've watched, but I'm kind of into music a little bit too. So I think it gives you an opportunity to kind of, play the guitar, play the ukulele a little bit. That stuff, staying creative during this time for me is kind of one of the things that we've done quite a bit of.
That's perfect. It leads into my next question. If there was an instrument you could play, which one would it be? Because you got the guitar, you got the ukulele. What would be the other instrument you'd want to play?
Man, well, I'd like to say electric guitar because I can't do that for some reason. I'm just like not good, and it's supposed to be easier. But I play an acoustic guitar, and the ukulele is pretty simple actually off of that. That's kind of a newer venture for me. But like if I could, like, I'm more like a chords guy and like throwing things out there, in the chords. So like the picking and playing lead guitar is like the sexy guy of the band. If I could be Marty McFly. And everybody was telling me I was just being too darn loud.
You're just too darn loud. I was going to say that.
Yeah. If Huey Lewis was telling me I was being just too darn loud with the megaphone, that would be a dream come true.
How big an international tragedy is it right now that Huey Lewis cannot sing and perform because of his hearing loss?
Yeah. I know. I'm a big Huey Lewis and the News fan. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, all these artists that we're seeing out here performing, which is great, like the country music things where they've been bouncing around and playing at their homes and everything is great. I'd love to see Huey out there. I'd love to see some cars, I'd like to see Huey out there mixing it up.
Greatest Huey Lewis in the News song is?
Oh, geez. Ooh, that's on the spot. I don't know. I'm not good with song names. Is that bad? Like, I mean, I don't know. What's yours, Drew? What's yours? Give me yours.
This is it. This is it.
Oh, this is it.
Please let me know.
That's why I just did it so I could listen to you sing.
Yeah, beautiful. I did. You got me. You reeled me in. Hey, who's the greatest guitarist of all time in your mind?
Oh, man. I grew up with a next-door neighbor that absolutely worshipped, and I love that I've gotten no preparation for these questions at all.
You're doing great. You're a professional. You're a professional. This is no problem for you.
Thank you. That worshipped Stevie Ray Vaughan and just absolutely loved Stevie Ray Vaughan. And it's a Texas native. And he used to show me at like 8, 9, 10 years old, like old Stevie Ray Vaughan, like music videos on like VHS. And I was raised to think that he was the greatest guitar player of all time. So I'm going to stick with Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Stevie Ray Vaughan. The Texans here will like that. Hey, what's the last thing you cooked?
Oh, last thing I cooked. So we get our meat shipped to the house here during this situation, but we've done it before from a local farm up in Boulder. And I did a couple of ribeyes on a salt block on the grill. So it takes a little bit longer. You got to heat up the salt block, nice and slow, but it definitely gives the steak a different flavor. So yeah, salt block, ribeyes on the grill outside.
That's good because when I did this with Chester, he hadn't cooked in 20 years. 20 years.
What?
Yeah. That's when he graduated college. Man. He said since he's gotten married, his wife does all the cooking.
What was it? Ramen? Was it like
I don't even know. I didn't even. I just
in the dorm room.
I'm not going back to the 90s with that guy. So other than him, the only other really crazy answer that I got was Taiwan Jones had not cooked in 3 years since Mother's Day. And then everybody else, all the other players that I'd spoken with, they'd been in the last few days. So you're right in there with.
I think this is a great opportunity. Yeah, it's a great opportunity to cook. I mean, I think when you're here at the house, we've smoked wings outside for hours and done things like that. I think that's one of the more entertaining things to just go, all right, we got some time tonight. We're not doing anything. Let's see a different recipe. I got my wife. I'll make another shout out. Can I make a shout out, Drew? I got my wife. Chris Shepard's cookbook for Christmas. And Chris is a good friend, and he signed it for Meg, and she is a huge cook. So cooking different things from his cookbook is something we're also trying to tackle, which those are they take some time, a lot of ingredients, but they've been a good thing to thumb through and try to find some that we like.
Nuts in brownies, a good thing or a punishable offense?
Oh, punishable offense. I don't like the mix and match of nuts. Thank you. I don't like the mix and match of textures and things like that. Like, I don't want like harder candies in my soft served ice cream. Like, it should all be roughly the same type of texture. Same thing with the brownie.
So are you also don't want like apples or oranges in your regular salad? Not your fruit salad, but your like regular salad? Because that infuriates me.
No.
Yeah,
I'm not into that. I'm not into the nuts. I don't want the croutons. I don't even want the croutons in my Caesar salad at all. Now throw me some anchovies, and I'm all day right there.
See, I like Caesar croutons
salad,
in my salad.
But see, I don't like even croutons in my salad. I don't want to get like mixing things up. Now cranberries in a salad I can do, which that's acceptable for me.
Divergent paths.
You like to separate?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like the guy that has to separate everything on the table.
No,
Jerry's
no.
girlfriend who eats her peas one at a time.
No, I just don't want sweet stuff in my salad. So let's do fruit salad. Hey, who's the greatest or who's your favorite retired NFL player?
Ooh, well, I do have one right here.
Yeah.
Let me snag him. This is Randall Cunningham's starting lineup.
I think he's underrated. I think he's really underrated, criminally underrated.
Super underrated.
Yeah.
Unbelievably underrated. I think he is kind of a pioneer in the way he played kind of the game. I was a huge Eagles fan, obviously, growing up. So him, Mike Quick, Fred Barnett, those guys of those early Eagles days where I used to go up to Lehigh Valley and watch training camp.
Oh, cool.
Those guys were like my heroes. Jerome Brown, Reggie White, all those guys when I'm a little kid going and watching. I got this great Polaroid. I wish I could like run and find it, where it's me on Ron Jaworski's shoulders.
Holy cow.
And I'm wearing his helmet, and Herm Edwards is right next to him as well. So it's me, Herm Edwards, Ron Jaworski, and little blonde-haired James at 5 years old is down at Eagles training camp.
Hey, we're doing this interview here on a Thursday. You can TBT it if you want. If you probably already have, but it's always good to TBT something like that again out on Twitter and Instagram if you want. Just a suggestion. It's always cool. Okay, last thing is you grew up in Philadelphia. Is Mike Schmidt the greatest third baseman in Major League Baseball history?
Combination of power and ability to field the position. I mean, the number of Gold Gloves that he has, and to hit 500 home runs before everyone apparently seemed to be hitting 500 home runs, makes him, in my mind, the greatest third baseman of all time. Little side story, Drew. My dad covered the Phillies and Philadelphia sports for a long time right back then, hence all my days at training camps. But he was actually in Pittsburgh when Mike Schmidt hit his 500th home run, and it was during an inning where Harry Kalas, the great broadcaster, was not broadcasting during that inning.
Wow.
So there was a scary sense to where if Schmidt hits his 500th, Harry Kalas won't have the call. So my dad was smart enough to go into the booth and let Harry do Mike Schmidt's at-bat on camera, recording it just to be safe. If he hit his 500 there, it would be recorded for everyone to have. Ended up not doing it in that inning. Harry ended up getting the call, but it was kind of a cool little backstory, right?
Yeah, I like that. He was preparing. That's smart of him. That's good stuff.
Yeah, journalist,
well, James,
man. Yeah.
It's always good talking with you, man. I hope you and the family stay safe, and look forward to seeing you again, hopefully sometime sooner than later. And it's going to be a fun NFL draft here pretty soon, won't it?
It really will be. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be one of a kind, but everything I'm hearing from teams around the league is it's actually going to be one where a lot of teams didn't overthink things. They went and trusted their scouts about what they saw during the season, and we'll see how the draft goes. It's going to be interesting, but I can't wait to get down to Houston and hang out with you guys a little bit more. I love everybody down there, so I hope you're all staying safe, and can't wait to get back down to Houston, eat some food. God, I got like a list of restaurants that I could mow through, so hopefully I get down there as much as I can as soon as possible.
Good times, James. We'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to know when we post new content.